back to basics. Let's talk about square roots, baby. Let's talk about square roots, you and me. What's a square root? Well, if I were to give you a number like 9 and ask you what times itself gives you that number, you would say 3. So the square root of 9 is 3. Well, in these cases, you were already given, or you should have already seen all the perfect squares. So finding square roots is just you asking yourself, what times itself gives me that number there? Well, the square root of 196 means what times itself gives me 196. 14 does. 14 times 14 is 196. But what we also have to be aware of is if there's a sign floating in front of everything, you need to include that sign. So my answer is positive or negative 14. If I ask you to find the square root of a fraction, it's simple. You take the square root of the top and the square root of the bottom. In other words, what times itself gives me 1? 1. What times itself gives me 16? 4. Let me type in to my common sense calculator. I know that the square root of 225 is 15, so what do you think the square root of 2.25 is? Well, instead of 15, how about we write out 15 and put a dot in between? There it is. Don't forget your negative, that's living out in front. And just like before, take the square root of the numerator, take the square root of the denominator. Don't forget your symbol. Let me fix that 0, let me fix that 3, and I think we are right as rain. Let's do some more. If I were to ask you to find the side lengths of the square, let's think logically. If I wanted to find the area of a square, I'd square both sides. That's why square is called a square, because you square to find the area. Squarea. Well, what if I gave you the area and I asked you to find the side? Well, that would be the opposite of a square. That would be a square root. So what I have to do is if I give you the area and ask you to find the length of the side, you square root that number. I'm going to quick sneeze. Achoo! What's the square root of 441?
The square root of...
And of course the answer is 21. Now if you're square rooting everything, what I should have written out is you have to square root the centimeters squared also. And when you square root a square, the squares cancel out. And so my side length is 21 centimeters. So the way I'll handle this is I'll just do the same thing. I'll just put a big square root around everything. And the square root of 36 is 6, and the square root of 49 is 7, and the square root of yards squared is yards. Done. Easy. Okay, good. I'm not going to have to sneeze again. Your friend finds the positive
Just a sec.
Your friend finds the positive or negative square root of 1 over 4. Is your friend correct? Explain your reasoning. Ugh. You know what they didn't do? They forgot the positive or negative symbol. Shame on them. Shame on them. Well, that's the end of this video. Pretty simple. Square roots. Super fun. Bye.